Well, the breaking news that we can share with you now is that India and Pakistan will be having a full bilateral here in Ufa. There was a sense a few days back that what would actually be taking place is just a pull aside between Prime Minister Modi and Nawaz Sharif, where they'd exchanged pleasantries. And beyond that, there wouldn't be anything substantial. But very senior sources have now told us that there is a program and basically telling us that it will be a bilateral. There will be substantive talks between the two leaders. Now, what the agenda of these talks is something that they won't share at all. So first on NDTV, we are officially confirming on the basis of what very senior sources have told us that there will be a bilateral meeting between India and Pakistan. Now, that will take place on the 10th. That will take place on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO meet, which is also taking place in Ufa. I should also mention that there are two very, very important meets which are taking place today, bilaterals between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. That takes place in a few hours from now, and later on he'll be meeting the Chinese President Xi Jinping as well over here in Ufa. We are told, again, source-based information, that some of the very important strategic linkages that India has with Russia in terms of weapons acquisition, several programs will be discussed. Several deals are in a fairly critical state right now, and the Prime Minister will perhaps bring those up. We are not given any details at this stage of what may transpire in the talks between Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, though we have been told that there isn't necessarily any issue or any topic which is off the agenda as far as these talks are concerned. So that's where things lie presently in Ufa on an important day for the BRICS, as the summit got underway today with all the leaders of the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, arriving in this Russian city.
Now, Vishnu, of course, NDTV had been the first to report that talks would take place between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. But the fact that you're now confirming that this is going to be a full bilateral is perhaps particularly significant. These are the first formal talks between India and Pakistan since Prime Minister Modi came to power.
These are very, very important. This is a very, very important development. Yes, there will be full bilateral talks. It's important to understand that this bilateral exchange is a chat between the two leaders, one-on-one chat, perhaps with just their top advisors next to them. It will take place maybe an hour, maybe a little bit more than that. Nobody really knows. It's not quite a summit, but it's one short of a summit. And yes, it is very important in the context of what's been happening recently, where there has been shelling between India and Pakistan, machine gun firing and the international border. There have been concerns expressed in Pakistan after India's operation in Myanmar. The entire issue of Zakir-ur-Rahman Lakwi, which is very, very close to India, and the recent statements made by India in this regard, and Pakistan in this regard. So in the backdrop of a lot of areas where there is a cause for concern, or certainly tensions between India and Pakistan, comes the news today, confirmed to us just a little while earlier on by very senior sources, that a full bilateral will take place between Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
All right, Vishnu, thanks very much indeed for joining us with that breaking story. Sources telling NDTV at this point that Prime Ministers Modi and Sharif will now hold a full bilateral in Ufa in Russia.